Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we will discuss whether Aldi can continue expanding rapidly across the U.S. while protecting the operational efficiency and low-cost structure that drives its competitive advantage. This analysis focuses on the long-term strategic sustainability of Aldi's expansion model. The central question guiding our presentation is, can Aldi continue expanding aggressively while protecting profits, operational efficiency, and its long-term competitive position? This issue is especially important because Aldi plans to add hundreds of new stores while responding to rising labor costs, omni-channel retailing, and increasing as competitive pressure from Walmart, Costco, Kroger, and potentially Lidl. To begin, we will examine Aldi's financial performance and the strategic pressures tied to its expansion strategy. From a financial standpoint, Aldi appears to be performing strongly. Between 2020 and 2024, revenues increased from approximately 16.8 to 29 billion. EBITDA grew from roughly 775 million to 1.3 billion, while net income increased to approximately 895 million. At the same time, Aldi expanded from just over 2,000 U.S. locations to more than 2,400 stores. This result demonstrates that Aldi's expansion strategy is currently generating strong financial growth. However, executive leadership cannot evaluate success based only on rising revenue. The grocery industry operates on extremely thin margins, meaning that even a modest increase in labor cost, logistics expenses, or fulfillment investments can significantly pressure profits. As expansion accelerates, the larger strategic concern becomes whether Aldi can sustain this growth model without weakening operational efficiency or long-term margins. As Aldi continues to expand across the United States, leadership faces increased strategic pressure. Historically, Aldi's competitive advantage has been built on lean staff, limited SKUs, efficient supply chain, and private label dominance. This operating model has allowed Aldi to maintain lower prices than many of its competitors. However, consumer expectations are evolving. Customers increasingly expect curbside pickup, digital ordering, and a faster convenience-based shopping experience. The challenge is that omni-channel capabilities are expensive. Delivery systems, fulfillment operations, technology investments, and labor requirements, all additional costs that pressure already thin margins. This creates a major strategic concern for leadership. Can Aldi continue to invest growth and convenience while still preserving the low-cost structure that made the company successful? If operational efficiency weakens, Aldi risks losing the very advantage that differentiates the company from larger competitors. From an executive management perspective, the core issue is not whether Aldi can grow. The company has already demonstrated strong financial growth and successful expansion. The real question is whether Aldi can scale profits without weakening its operational discipline. Another major concern is how Aldi's finance expansion as a private company operating within thin grocery margins. Much of its growth depends on operational cash flow and reinvested earnings, meaning automation, distribution, and omni-channel reinvestments must generate measurable operation value rather than simply increasing complexity and cost. As expansion continues, leadership must carefully balance growth, reinvest labor efficiency, technology spending, and competitive pricing. This becomes increasingly important as Walmart, Costco, Kroger, and Lidl continue to strengthen their own operational and omni-channel capabilities. Ultimately, long-term success will depend on whether Aldi can continue scaling while preserving the efficient, driven model that created its competitive advantage. With the financial and strategic pressures now established, the next section will evaluate whether Aldi's internal capabilities are strong enough to sustain a long-term expansion.
Beginning with the macroeconomic external environment, the economic factors that contribute to all these challenges include rising labor costs and a tightening labor market, rising fuel and shipping costs, both sparking inflation and consumer price sensitivity, as well as changing customer demand for more ways to buy their groceries. Over 20 states have increased minimum wage in 2025 alone, making the national average minimum wage about $9.57. Despite this, hiring is slowing down, presenting a threat to a company reliant on cross-trained individuals to make Aldi's lean staffing model work. Global conflict is driving up fuel costs, which in turn drive up shipping and delivery costs, which is increasing prices at the checkout for an already price-sensitive customer base. Shoppers are forced to compare prices, decrease brand loyalty, often resorting to shopping at multiple retailers for the best value. Despite the price sensitivity, consumers are looking to technology and demanding grocery store convenience that fits in with their busy daily lives. Nationally, online grocery shopping accounts for $10.72 billion a month. Additionally, 90% of shoppers use some combination of online and in-store for their personal shopping. However, with that additional revenue comes high fulfillment costs, including labor, shipping, and technology. Another side effect of e-commerce is the tendency to eliminate impulse buys that would have otherwise been purchased in store. Within the grocery industry, especially among the low-cost providers like Aldi, Costco, and Walmart, competitive rivalry is strong. Because Costco and Walmart scale of operations, they have better leverage and buying power than Aldi. And in order for Aldi to compete, they must cut into their already low profit margins, which hover around 3.1%. Walmart and Costco also compete on variety, carrying as many as 140,000 SKUs, as opposed to Aldi's average of 2,000 SKUs. Buyer power and threat of substitutes are also high. There are so many low price options, many of whom have a better variety of products. Consumers are less brand loyal. Aldi must compete on more than a low price level, offering convenience that retailers like Walmart offer with their online shopping. Power is less of a concern, but still relevant. Aldi must maintain strong, long-term relationships with its suppliers by continuing dominant private label presence with very little in-store competition with other brands and products, incentivizing suppliers to keep their costs to Aldi low. Looking at the competition visually using strategic group mapping, it's easy to see where Aldi is faltering when comparing its omni-channel capabilities and its ability to maintain low-cost provider strategy with competitors in the grocery industry. The grocery industry is a mature one, characterized by slow growth potential and high competition, in which the emphasis then becomes more about profitability and cash flow. This is relevant because Aldi's aggressive expansion plan does not seem to fit the mature nature of the industry. Currently, the CAGR for overall grocery store sales in the US is about 1.6%, with actual in-store CAGR at 1.3%. Online grocery, or e-grocery, is seeing an estimated CAGR of 4.5% over the next few years. The upside, however, comes from the cash flow perspective, since Aldi's average in-store inventory turnover is on a weekly basis, 52 times per year, as opposed to Walmart's 9.1. The high turnover rate makes Aldi's cash flow extremely high among its peers. Looking at Aldi's internal attributes through the VRIN lens, there's a lot Aldi can lean on for a competitive advantage. Aldi has value in its private label offerings, which represent 90% of its store inventory. Through the private label, Aldi is able to expand its profit margins while simultaneously negotiating with suppliers to keep the costs at the lowest possible level and maintaining a low price strategy for the consumer. Their know-how of efficient operations are also a valuable asset, maximizing square footage, paring down excess staff, keeping store size to smaller than average grocery stores, which keep operating costs low, passing those savings on to the consumer. The rareness in Aldi's value proposition stems from their ability to maintain an inventory of an extremely limited number of SKUs, an average of 2,000. This low inventory keeps inventory turnover at a high level, which keeps cash flow high as well, increasing overall liquidity. The inimitable nature of the shopping experience at Aldi is an asset in that the no-frills experience combined with an efficient store layout keeps the average visit to a minimum, 30 minutes versus 46 minutes at the average grocery store. Competitors are going to be hard-pressed to substitute much of the value that Aldi offers. Having 90% private label brands is something that is extremely difficult to replicate, especially on a level as large as Walmart's. The shopping experience at Aldi with its no-frills, high-value experience is something that Aldi alone has become known for, garnering a cult following among its customers.
Aldi's business model continues to provide a strong competitive advantage, but the primary concern is whether or not it can remain sustainable during aggressive expansion. Competitors like Walmart, Costco, and Kroger are continuing to strengthen their operational capabilities, digital infrastructure, and omnichannel services, increasing pressure throughout the grocery industry. Because this represents one of the most aggressive expansions in the industry, long-term profitability will depend heavily on leadership's strategic decisions regarding operational efficiency, reinvestment, and controlled expansion. The key issue is not maintaining low prices, it's whether or not Aldi can continue financing this expansion while preserving the simplicity and operational discipline that created its competitive advantage in the first place. Alright, so our first recommendation is a lean omnichannel strategy rather than the full-scale delivery model. Leadership should prioritize in-store pickup as the primary digital offering while limiting online inventory to high demand and high margin products. This allows Aldi to respond to changing consumer behavior while minimizing fulfillment costs and protecting operational efficiency. Home delivery should remain a secondary priority at this stage. Historically, delivering services created pricing concerns through additional fees and inflated prices, making profitability more difficult to sustain with Aldi's low price structure. Online grocery shopping now generates almost $11 billion a month, and consumers increasingly value convenience and mobile shopping capabilities. By leveraging existing stores as localized fulfillment centers, Aldi can expand digital capabilities without significantly increasing infrastructure costs. This strategy also improves inventory visibility, reduces waste, and strengthens customer demand forecasting. In addition, digital engagement creates opportunities for targeted promotions, personalized recommendations, and stronger data collection, improving basket size and inventory management. Ultimately, e-commerce expansion should continue only where it supports profitability, operational discipline, and long-term sustainability. Our second recommendation is selective automation investment. Aldi's business model already operates with efficiency, making automation a natural extension of the company's strategy. While automation requires a significant upfront investment, it improves operational consistency, reduces error, and strengthens inventory accuracy, while supporting long-term labor efficiency. However, leadership should avoid excessive automation. A fully operating model creates maintenance costs, technological complexity, and customer service limitations that may weaken value creation rather than improving it. Instead, Aldi should pursue a balanced automation focused on high-value operational improvements such as self-checkout kiosks, AI-supported inventory monitoring, price checking systems, and automated distribution center operations. These technologies improve customer convenience while reducing waste, increasing inventory accuracy, and supporting operational scalability. As Aldi expands into regions with higher costs, automation can help maintain cost discipline without fully replacing employees. For the company's new distribution centers, leadership should prioritize highly automated logistics, which are capable of supporting future store expansions efficiently and at lower operating costs.
Hi, my name is Matt Wallner, and before we close up this presentation, I think it's important that we address the strategic risks that Aldi faces as it expands into the US market. The core issue is not whether Aldi can grow, it is whether Aldi can scale in the US market without weakening the operational simplicity that created its competitive advantage in the first place. The external analysis from earlier showed rising labor costs, shifting consumer expectations, and intense rivalry from firms with far greater scale. The internal analysis confirmed that all these advantages are real, but they all depend entirely on the simplicity of the operations. Aldi's current plan is to reach 2,700 US stores by the end of 2025, with a longer-term goal of 3,000 plus locations in the next 4 to 5 years. This is all with inside an industry with net profit margins of only 1 to 2%, according to IBIS World. The danger of this expansion is not in any single investment or store. The danger is the cumulative weight of all the new stores, fulfillment capabilities, and technology spending, which layers complexity onto Aldi's model, which was built to be simple. This is not a hypothetical risk. Grocery Outlet, a similar firm in the same industry, provides a direct parallel. In 2025, the company announced the closure of 36 stores after overextending its growth strategy. Despite reporting an 11% increase in sales overall, Grocery Outlet posted a $218 million net loss in the fourth quarter. Revenue grew and profitability collapsed for their Grocery Outlet expansion. This is the exact outcome Aldi's leadership must guard against, and demonstrates why growth without operational discipline destroys value, even when top-line numbers, such as revenue, are strong. The pressure on Aldi's margins are coming from many directions. EBITDA margins sit at roughly 4.5% on $29 billion of revenue, according to Statista, leaving very little room for error. Online fulfillment costs run $10 to $15 per order, according to McKinsey, and the Instacart partnership already showed prices 11% higher than the in-store, with a third of items out of stock or substituted online. Over 20 states raised minimum wages in 2025 to a national average of approximately $9.57, according to the U.S. Department of Labor, with only 3 to 5 employees per shift at each store. Every wage increase flows almost directly to the bottom line, Cost of goods sold keeps rising, payroll keeps going up. The takeaway of all this is pretty straightforward. Aldi operates with very little cushion as it expands. Every new store, fulfillment capability, and technology investment must strengthen the operating model and be able to have scalability. It cannot just be for each store individually, but for all stores going forward. This is what directly shapes our recommendations in the next couple slides. Our first and most urgent recommendation is a lean omnichannel strategy. Online grocery currently generates $10.72 billion per month, according to Mercatus, with 90% of shoppers blending online and in-store purchases, and e-grocery, online grocery, growing at a cumulative aggregate growth rate of 4.5% versus only 1.3% in-store, according to eMarketer. Aldi cannot ignore that shift to online, but full-scale delivery of online orders creates $10 to $15 of cost per order fulfillment, which has already produced pricing and availability problems through Instacart. The course of action for Aldi is a curbside pickup and limited high demand online SKUs, using existing stores as fulfillment centers. This is prioritized first because it addresses the largest gap identified in strategic group mapping, which is Aldi's omni-channel capability. And this will all be done without compromising the low-cost structure. Our second recommendation is disciplined automation. Rising labor costs and a tightening labor market threaten the lean staffing model that the VRIN analysis from earlier identifies as a core advantage. The course of action is targeted investment in self-checkout, AI inventory monitoring, and automated distribution centers. This is prioritized second because it directly mitigates labor cost pressure while extending the operational simplicity and efficiency in higher wage markets. But it requires its careful implementation to avoid adding complexity to their operational model. Our third recommendation is a controlled expansion. Every store, every region must be evaluated and carefully thought of before making an investment into that region. The grocery industry is a mature market at 1.6% cumulative aggregate growth rate, according to IBIS World. And Grocery Outlet demonstrated that aggressive expansion in a low margin industry destroys profitability, even when revenue grows. The course of action, therefore, is to evaluate every new store against operational performance criteria that is the same throughout the country, and slow down where markets are not ready for their expansion. This is prioritized third because it is the overarching discipline that governs every decision for the first three recommendations. Without it, all these lean investments become cost layering and destroy the simplicity of their operations. These three recommendations integrate across operations, technology, human resources, finance, and marketing. They are an organizational strategy, not isolated functional fixes. Aldi does not need to become Walmart. It is a smaller store business, and that is not a weakness. It is a strategy. Today, the company generates $29 billion across 2,400 stores and turns inventory 52 times per year, holds 90% private label, and averages 30-minute shopping trips. These advantages for Aldi are the real, measurable, and difficult things that their business offers in a very mature and very saturated industry. If leadership can currently hold the line, Aldi's positioned to grow profitably well beyond the 3,000 locations. The competitive edge is there. The financial foundation and investment opportunity is also there. The question is whether it can scale while keeping the efficiencies of its current capabilities going forward. Thank you. I appreciate all this time. Have a great weekend.